Matt Murdock, Daredevil, the devil in Hell's Kitchen, the man without fear. He's finally been added to Marvel Rivals, and I'm going to give you a really quick introduction on how he works. So let's get going. So let's start off by talking about Daredevil's vision. So Daredevil's vision has a 25-meter radius for the actual visual indicators that you have complete color for, and you'll see the exact same as anybody else. When it comes to his radar vision, it's a total of 50 meters, and you have to be inside 50 meters. What you will also notice is like a pulse. It is echolocation. So the enemies in the radar section will disappear at certain points. So remember the numbers, right? 50 meters for visual at all, 25 meters for complete, and you are going to have a random pulse every 4 to 5 seconds. Alright, so let's move on to Daredevil's primary attack, or his melee, which is his left click. They are different. He does have a different melee with his primary. His primary left click, which is going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern, is just going to be him using his batons for main damage. Moving on to his traditional melee, which is his V or whatever your secondary melee button is, it is a much faster attack that does lower damage. So you can combine them for interesting combos. So it's looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here's some mix-ups. Alright, let's talk about Daredevil's first move, Objection. This is one of my most anticipated ones that I was super excited about. His right click, it lasts 2 seconds, and it deflects all attacks that happen in front of you, including ultimates. So it also does some pretty decent damage to enemies that are nearby. As you can see here, I do some kind of pity damage to the bots here. And then when you move on to ults, it can deflect exactly where you're looking. So unlike some other like cap shield or potentially some other reflection, this one is exactly on aim and can reflect. So, but do be careful. So as you can see, you can miss. And second, what can happen is if you block at the right moment, it'll only stop the projectile and won't deflect it. But there's some very good hard counters that we have found in testing. Punisher, you absolutely destroy if you can land those headshots. Namor, if you move to the side and look at it directly, it will still block it. Very interesting. Wanda, as well, you can block and you can save your friends that are behind you, but they have to be pretty close. Moving on to his grapple ability, or Devil's Catch. When you use it on a surface or area, he will kind of zip to it pretty quickly, kind of like Spider-Man, except a bit slower. It also queues up Righteous Cross, which is a X attack that you will see earlier, and you can end it off with a bounce for a quick mobility boost. If you do it on an enemy, however, you will zip to the person and bring them to you, while also zipping to them. Again, kind of like Spider-Man. It's kind of a combination of both pulls. And it queues up Righteous Cross, which is some very good for combos. Make sure you look down when you're doing it to allow to make sure you get that X. And additionally, it does work like Bucky's pull. So for our fellow Bucky mains out there, definitely make sure to get used to using the body block, use the pull, and as I kind of demonstrate here, if you're not too careful with it, you can potentially kind of get them to the side. Next up is our E, which is the Q for Devil's Chain and Devil's Throw. Devil's Chain is an overhead that's going to give Daredevil some extra health every time he does damage, and Devil's Chain will go to multiple targets as well. It also queues up Righteous Cross. Devil's Throw is going to be kind of like Moon Knight's Onks. It's going to kind of act like that, and it bounces off. If you do it in between two enemies, it will bounce between them. If you hit one enemy, it'll do a lot more damage. So definitely try to queue it up. However, it really only bounces 2 to 3 times, so you do got to be careful. Traditionally, with a single combo, you want to go with the overhead. Devil's Throw is really good for some crowd control and very quick damage while backing out. Next up, we have probably one of my favorite abilities in this new lineup, Sonic Pursuit. It does have to have around a 35 to 40 meter range for you to mark the target, and then you can see them at an even farther distance than anything else. So as long as that's live, which is on the right there, you are able to see them outside your visual acuity range. Within 20 meters, so 19 or below, you can do an additional dash to follow up with that target. and it does a very, very nice amount of damage. This is very good for when you're trying to target someone that you're trying to assassinate, when you're playing more of the diver aspect of Daredevil, and it is a lot of fun. We also have a pretty interesting thing. It actually increases your movement speed, as shown here. If you have any target active, your movement speed is increased. There is also a misconception on the next part of this ability. The damage uh, decrease that happens when there's a mark. It is only active to the target you are marking, meaning the target you have marked must be the individual to damage you for you to be valid to get that damage resistance. So as you can see here, I'm getting that damage resistance because the bot shooting me is the one I have marked. Now it's time for the fun one. Let the Devil Out is probably one of the best cues so far. I really love it visually, but when it comes to the actual ability, everyone in the range is going to take general damage, and when that hand is full, as you can see there, they go blind. So additionally, as I will show here, with that effect is when you build up Fury, traditionally you have to hit the enemy for it to grow naturally. With Q, it will continue to grow, allowing you to really queue up your E's with Devil's Chain and Devil's Throw almost constantly. It is a very, very nice combo that I'm worried people are going to sleep on a bit, so definitely use it very quickly. Now, as the opponent's POV for when Daredevil ults, you're going to see this here, and what it's going to do is you slowly lose vision. The new team up. Let's talk about that real quick. So it's called Blind Verdict or Bestial Hunt. Daredevil shares the location of his Sonic Pursuit target with the Punisher, and then as well, Punisher is going to get a Devil's Infused Shock Grenade. What that's going to do is it's going to blind enemies similar to Daredevil's ult, while allowing for the additional smoke grenade too. So it's a pretty decent one that I'm really excited for. All right, now let's talk about the cool stuff. So a lot of people were asking, can Daredevil see Invisible Woman? Yes, if there is an opposing Invisible Woman who has activated her invisibility, she will be visible to Daredevil. It's a lot of fun. Now let's talk about some of my personal favorite things to do here. So if you go to Settings, and you specifically go to Daredevil Settings, go to the Hero section, you're going to want to activate Scanline Effect follows accessibility settings. Then in accessibility, you're going to change your ally color to whatever your preferable color is. What that's going to do is it's going to change the visual difference for friendlies to make sure they're much more distinguishable than the default. As you can see, default, they're given kind of like a reddish, similar color, and just to make sure that they're given a very clear difference, it makes it real easy to notice.
I can hear them getting closer.
All right, let's talk about one more change that I really like, radar sense background brightness. What this does is it's going to generally change the visual for that outside area. Now, if you want the real Daredevil experience, you're going to put that at 1, makes things real black, but jokes aside, I suggest probably around 0.5 to 0.6. I'll probably play around 0.6 for that Daredevil experience, but the benefit is it does allow you to see where your radius ends. So unless you're really confident in knowing what that 25-meter range is, I suggest changing this setting. All right, so that's been Daredevil, Matt Murdock, the man without fear. He's pretty fun. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Please join SEU Esports Tuesdays at 8 o'clock traditionally for our games. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed Daredevil. Have a good day.